Alright, time to go out and hit the road. Got the high vis on. Through my own tests, I found out it's a difference of people staying back 4 to 5 car lengths versus with the black jacket, like 1. So, yeah, visibility is a big thing when you're riding a small bike that's all black and you're wearing black. Yeah. So, I'm just going to go out and get a few basic tools just in case that screw vibrates loose again or something. And then, yeah, we're pretty much ready to hit the road. Turn my petcocks on. And the reason why I always do the one on the carburetor is just because I've had other Chinese-built things that the gas goes into the crankcase if you don't do that. And so far, I've had perfectly clean oil with no gas in it, so I'm going to try to keep it that way. And it usually starts without a choke, believe it or not, even when it's as cold as like 50 degrees. Helps if you have the key on, though. And I usually just give it a little bit to warm up here. You can see my high vis there in the reflections. Man, that's bright. Put the shades down here. Alright, off we go. Now, when I'm on the highway, if we're a little out of frame, my apologies. Just trying to be as safe as possible here. And yeah, I can't overstate how big of an improvement that gear change was, by the way. It is absolutely amazing how much better this is. It is a lot more like my first bike that I had. That was a 2009 Kawasaki EN125, or also called the Eliminator 125. But technically wasn't part of the Eliminator lineup from a mechanical perspective. Neither is the 500 for that matter. That's an EN 500, which is a carryover from the 1980s that nobody really knows about. They think that it's just a Vulcan. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, on the road now. I wish this had a gear position indicator. Obviously, that's not going to happen for the price point that I paid for this bike. Holy crap, it is windy. I'm going to drop it down a gear and rock it on out of here. Yeah, I often find I'm reaching for a fifth gear that's not there, like right there. Woo! Yeah, it's chilly. But, yeah, we don't even have really bad vibrations yet, and we're doing a decent speed already. Whew. A little iffier with the camera, but yeah, 55 is about all you really want to do. I still have a little bit of a bump from that rear wheel. I'm doing 50 right now. Probably hear it in my voice. It kind of like goes front and back because it's too stiff in the rear and it's too light in the front, and that creates some issues. Yeah. As for range, I'm doing 55 right now. It's relatively comfortable, actually. Well, before 55 was absolute balls to the walls and all you could get out of it. So that sprocket, definitely a big upgrade, a lot like my EN 125. Whew, skunk. Ah, that tasted gross. Anyway, yeah, it is not a highway bike, and that is wildly apparent even after you re-gear it. Granted, it doesn't stop me. If I want to go on the highway, I'm going to go on the highway. Yeah, comfortable cruising speed 50 to 55. Range. In a wind like this, I probably got a 25 to 30 mile an hour headwind. I'm still holding 50 in top gear. That's amazing with how much of a gearing change I did and how little power this bike makes. But range, not good. This, most I've ever gotten into this tank was 1.1 gallons. They claim all over the place, and it's mostly in liters, and I don't have time to convert that shit. Realistically, it's a 1 gallon fuel tank. you can see a range of around 90 to 100 miles an hour with mixed in-town and highway riding. If you're doing all highway and into the wind like this, I've gotten as low as about 70 miles of comfortable range before you'd want to fill up. So if you're going cruising down the highway, you're going to need to plan your gas stops out ahead of time. That's just the way it is. Granted, I'm a little spoiled because my first bike, that was also a 125, it had a 5th gear, and oh, we got a car coming up here. I'll signal them ahead. And yeah, it would do like hundreds of miles. You could go all summer on a tank. It was ridiculous. It had a 3.4 gallon fuel tank and got about the same fuel economy as this, maybe even a little better, to be honest. Yeah, but that was also a way heavier bike, and it wasn't a great riding position unless you're about that cruiser life, which I seem to go back and forth on myself. But yeah, I'm just talking a lot about it because it's the only other bike that I've had a lot of seat time on to compare it to. But yeah, this bike, it's not a highway bike, but you can use it for highway if you regear it. Without regearing it, you are absolutely stuck to the city. If you can't go there on a 50cc scooter, you can't go there on this with the factory gearing. But as for reliability, I've got, let's see here, 300, was that a 9? Yeah, 309 miles on it. I haven't had any major issues. I've never been stranded on the side of the road. I did finally get the headset bearings tight enough, which I had to go back and retighten them so many times. I eventually ended up making a custom tool for it because I got tired of taking the handlebars off every single time. But now it's actually good. Before, every bump I'd hit, you could hear it go ka-dunk, 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 from the frame to the fork there. That doesn't happen anymore. It's actually a pretty solid bike. The mirrors are pretty damn buzzy. Often I'll find myself holding them so I can actually see what's behind me. Yeah, not a whole lot that can be improved on these mirrors, just because it's a thumper. It's a 125 single, and I have no tack, but I can guarantee you I'm sitting at 6,500 to 7 grand right now. So that shit's just gonna happen. That's just the way it is. It is actually a really nice time of day to be riding with overall temperature, wind, and lack of traffic. But it is still chilly. We're getting into October here. By the time this goes live, we will be a week into October. Yeah, it's harvest. It's cold out here. I think it's about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm pushing probably a 30 mile an hour wind, and I'm doing 50 miles an hour. So 80 mile an hour wind chill at 55 is cold. Anyway, yeah, I guess, man, I don't know what the next turnaround is. Probably should get a little in town for you guys. I don't know, maybe this will be all just highway. I mean, I'm liking it. I think the next turnaround is like a 25 mile loop. If I take a left at the next highway here, and then another left and another left. Oh, that guy's confused. He thought I was signaling. He's like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. A lot harder to check the mirror and the gauges on this bike. I notice I'm not dog tracking anymore, so we got that axle in the right spot, guys. That's awesome. I can't believe how far off those marks were. That's absolutely comical. I would love to do a hands-free test to see where my alignment's at, if I actually am holding straight, but needless to say, with these kind of winds, I'm not going to be doing that. Alright, got our signal on. which is next to useless. So I'll give the old school signals here, just in case anyone's behind me that I don't see. But yeah, I really love where I got the gearing here. I can basically, let's see, I can basically just hold second around the corners, but I am going to go down to neutral here and check and make sure my blinker isn't still on, because you cannot see it worth a crap, which that is nothing new with this motorcycle. That is pretty much every cheap bike you get. They have a little incandescent light in there, and in the sun you can't tell, but my blinkers are off. But yeah, I'll let you see the speedometer. That's third. That's about where you'd shift out, and then about here is where you'd hit fourth. And then now I'm in top gear, and then because I have OCD, I'm gonna check, make sure, yep, we're still in top gear. But yeah, I mean, it does its thing. It doesn't promise a lot when you buy it. It holds up to that promise, not a lot. But I mean, it's still a fun little bike. You're going to be doing a lot of maintenance if you get one. You're going to be adjusting crap all the time. You're going to be putting bolts back on and Loctiting them all the time. But you know, I come from the motorized bike community, and compared to that, this is a Cadillac for comfort and usability. If you aim with your bar down here, this bike's way up here. Now, if you're looking at this compared to other 125cc motorcycles or other singles, particularly Japanese bikes, if you're looking at like a Suzuki GZ250, or if you're looking at a Kawasaki EN125, or maybe even you're looking at you know, a Yamaha 400, or any bike from the 1980s that's a single, or even a twin Honda Rebel, yeah, this bike's absolute trash compared to all those. I say that joshingly because I still really love this bike, but it is definitely in a class of its own for motorcycles. I mean, it says moped on the frame, let's be real. But I mean, it still does it. I mean, I'm bucking a headwind. I had a slight hill there. I didn't have to downshift, and I have a modified front gear on here. So, I mean, it still has plenty of power to do things. I mean, granted, I'm a light rider. I'm 140 pounds. If you're a little bit heavier, you're probably not going to want to ride this on the highway, even with a gear change, honestly. Power to weight is a big thing. But I don't know. I mean, I like it. It's squeaky. The suspension isn't great, but it gets the job done. I don't know how much other things I could talk about. I pretty much just set the camera and go on this. I am going to either hate myself for how much editing I have to do later, or I'm just going to upload way too long of a video and you guys can fast forward through the boring parts. Maybe that's what'll happen. But yeah, this is a pretty typical scene here of North Dakota, coming in to harvest here. Pretty much just see combines running 10, 12 hours a day. A lot of times they'll be 3 wide, just getting that shit in. Oh God, not good for my allergies though. Hold the breath. Okay, we're clear of the dust. That moldy grain dust really gets to you. Which is part of the joys of being on a motorcycle. Fresh air and stanky air that you have no control over like you do with a car. I have no cabin air filter. I have no recirculating fan button. Oh well. That is part of being out on 2 wheels. And yes, that still freaks me out looking down going highway speed, so I'm not going to. It only takes falling off once to realize how bad it hurts when you see the squiggles in the pavement going by that fast. Never fallen off at that high of a speed. Fastest I was going when I fell off was 20, and that was, I got a limp for a year straight out of that one. So, yeah, be safe. I think next year I'm gonna probably be doing some more highway riding and get some better gear, so I can go on more of the main roads with more traffic without, you know, fearing for my life as much. Ooh, it is getting chilly though. Ooh, should have worn the thick jacket. Ooh, I got the jittery jaw. Ooh. A little bit of hypothermia never killed anyone, but a lot definitely did. Oh man, this jacket's not great for it. I should have duct taped up my sleeves and worn those winter gloves. I just don't like the way they keep me from touching the buttons with my thumbs and stuff. Have you ever noticed how cold when you get cold on a motorcycle, you kind of tend to speed up to try to get back faster? It's kind of what's happening now. Oh, there's some sun. It is not enough. I guess at this point we are just in it for the long haul. This is going to be a really long video. We're only 16 minutes in. I am going to be pissed if this free app I downloaded stops at 20 minutes or something like that. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that counter. You never know when you're recording stuff. So many times I've been recording long videos, the camera will just like shut off and then stop, and I'll have no idea where it stopped, or it won't save my video up until that point. Really frustrating stuff. Another thing, getting back to the bike, I've noticed, find myself tucking the elbows in a lot in order to actually see what's in the mirrors. The gauge placement is actually nice. I'm glad that it's not on the tank, it's actually on the bars. I think I am going to add a tack. I had one on my Tao Rhino they called it a 250, it was a 200 in actuality. I'm talking about that because that's my other Chinese vehicle that I had. It was basically a four-wheeled motorcycle. And it had no gauges at all. It just had a neutral light and a reverse light. But yeah, that one I ended up adding a tack, and it would get weird. I'd be going down the highway and it would just kind of start bouncing like this, and I mean, it was just like a cheap $20 tack off of eBay. It didn't even tell you how many cylinders it was for, but based on the RPM I was saying, it seemed accurate for a four-stroke one-cylinder. I don't know, maybe I'll get one of those like digital hour meter ones that you wrap around the spark plug. I don't know. I just want some sort of tack on here. Whew. A lot of ragweed in this ditch I can smell. Must be hiding under those reeds. Anyway, yeah. It's a bike at the end of the day. I mean, I think after everything was said and done, I got like $1,500 into it. After you count the wheel truing stand and the wheel weights and the spoke wrench and the oil change, maybe another $1,600. I mean, where can you find a bike for $1,600 that you could just, I mean, for the most part, you just hop on and go. Most of the time, I'm just riding around in town, and gets me across town just fine. Starts every time. The battery does have a little bit of hesitation after a hot start, which I think is probably due to the starter heat soaking due to its placement against the cooling fins of the motor. Maybe I will get some heat wrap and wrap my starter one of these days, but it still starts. I've never had it just stop. It might be like a and then and it still works, so whatever. Other thing, I don't know if you can see, I removed the kickstart because it was geared absolutely horribly, and I could stand on it and it would barely rotate at all. So it was useless. It has electric start anyway, and it just made my foot hang out on the right side, which was not very comfortable for long rides. So I removed it. I just took the Kickstarter off. There's no point in having it. Okay, I just got a warning that said video max reached. and that was at 20 minutes. I don't know how much longer I was talking after that. Anyway, I'll tell this story for a third time, I guess. I took this on an 82-mile trip. That was the longest I've ever ridden, and it was terrible. 20 minutes in, my ass was numb, and I also hit a really bumpy road that I was getting air on about every 50 to 100 feet. That messes with your psyche after a while. And then, oh man, by the time I got there, I didn't even care anymore. It was like a 2.5-hour trip to go 82 miles. It was just so buzzy. Granted, now that I have this better gearing, I can clear like, this trip will probably end up being about 25 miles. I could clear that no problem. 50 is easy peasy. All right, just check to make sure we're in gear. Yep. But yeah, 50 to 55 is no problem. I'm not getting like a dead ass yet even, and we've been going for over 20 minutes. Yeah, that gear change was major. That was like, I think $7.50, guys. Totally worth it. Totally 100% worth it. And the shift points in town are way better, so I can use second gear around the corners. First gear used to run out at like 8 or 9 miles an hour. Now I can shift out at like 10 or 11 in first, which it's only a few mile per hour difference down low, but it really makes a difference for the usability of the bike. Yeah. This is going to be a really long episode. Wasting the internet at this point. And yeah, oh, another thing. The wind is in my favor for these trucks right now, but the other day I was riding. Wow. If you got a wind from the other side of a truck, like a semi, man, I had to have my helmet down on the gauges here, resting my chin down there, slow down to like 30 miles an hour, and I still was like, you know, close to being blown off the road. I mean, it's a light bike, you sit straight up, it's comfortable for that upright position, and it's better on your back than the cruiser position, but oh yeah, it was iffy. So that's another reason why I'd say I wouldn't say this is the best highway bike, but I still like it. I don't know. Slow down for town here. Basically, 25 is the bottom of third, and that's literally perfect. I like it to be geared similar to a car with a manual transmission, where you can hold second around the corners, and you can use third to putts at 25. That's what makes sense to me. I'm gonna try to fix this camera angle a little bit for you guys. Oh, brr. Oh, Snap-on truck. Watch out. Someone's losing their family fortune. Probably get an impact driver for the cost of this motorcycle. Oh, brr. Do we got anyone behind? Nope. And we're in a no-name, nothing town, so I am not going to signal. Because I know it's bad. I should be signaling all the time, but the switch is a little sticky on this, and I would rather not signal for the few seconds than be signaling for 10 minutes straight and have people constantly taking left turns in front of me on the highway. Oh yeah, got a little bit of a curvy. Oh, man, I should take this thing out by Valley City. Yep, we're in top gear. Man, that lack of a fifth I can't get used to. Anyway, yeah, I should take this out to Valley City one day. They got a lot of nice twisty roads there. A lot of hills. I would probably be doing like 25 down the hills. Here, let me see. Yeah, that wind's just pushing that camera wherever it wants to be. I say camera, it's my cell phone that's duct taped to my face. It's what we got, guys. It does the job most of the time. And the rest of the time, it's blatantly obvious I'm using a cell phone. Oh, man. how am I into the wind both directions? Why? I don't understand this. The reeds aren't really moving. Maybe that's just the wind of my bike. It definitely feels like a massive headwind. But I don't see the reeds moving in the ditch, so oh, maybe it's just oh yeah, they are moving. It's just cold. That's the real deal. But yeah, you'll get that in North Dakota a lot. You'll be somehow like be going against the wind, and then you'll do a complete 180 in directions and go back home, and you're still against the wind. It shifts like every 24 hours, it seems, especially in the fall and the spring as well. Oh, in the winter it does it too. It's terrible, guys. You'll be commuting, going to work. You'll have like a north wind the whole way there. It'll warm up in the afternoon. You'll get a south wind the whole way back. It's terrible. Or you'll get crosswinds both ways, and it's just drifts that are like 3 feet tall that you're trying to go over and not die or get stranded and have no one come and get you. It is basically Canada. That's why I'm trying to like get as much riding in as possible, because I know it's going to be like another 8 months of suffering again. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but I mean, we have had 9-month-long winters with snow on the ground. That is not an exaggeration, and not that long ago, like 2 years ago, we had 9 months between the first snow and the last snow. Now, there are a few times in between where it melted, but you still can't ride bike when it's like 30 degrees and ice patches. So, yeah, I'm just getting as much seat time as I can in before winter hits, and a lot of times it starts in October. So, we got some nice trees here. That's one of the old shelter belts from the dirty 30s. A lot of people have been tearing them out in the recent years. I'm not to get too political, but I think that's a really dumb idea, because when they do that and they plow in the spring, you get a wind, you can just see it. It's just a dust storm coming off of all the fields that don't have those old big trees. Ugh, brr. Oh man, that wind is just pushing my camera over. Come on, duct tape, do your job. Ugh. Well, if it looks like I'm going sideways, my apologies. I swear I'm going straight down the road. This has actually been a really nice day to be riding as far as traffic's been. Usually when I'm out here, you think 2-lane road in the middle of nowhere, there's not going to be anyone. Wrong. Because everyone in North Dakota lives in the middle of nowhere, they all have to drive, like, to work. Minimum 20 miles. Some people will drive like 100 miles to work each day, one way. So it's just tons of car traffic all the time. All you see, it's just back and forth, just barely any time to pass a lot of the times, especially around 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I try to avoid being on the road at those times when I'm riding my bike. The other thing, everyone here speeds. Speed limit on almost all these small roads is 65 miles an hour. Some of them are 55, but they're far and few between. Everyone goes 70. I'm doing 50. They come up on me on 70, it's sketchy. But enough complaining. We're out on 2 wheels. It's a sunny day. I'm not getting rained on. This is good. Ah, nice. We got past a hot spot. I love that. Go past a field that's open, or the sun comes out at a slightly different angle or behind a cloud or something. That's the fun part about riding a motorcycle. You'll be like freezing your ass off, and then like a mile down the road it's like 20 degrees warmer, and then you get hot. It's just a flip-flop back and forth. You don't notice these temperature swings when you're in a car, but on a bike they are big. Oh, wow. Almost back around to the adjoining highway. We're over 3/4 of the way done with our little trip here. Oh, wait, did I miss it? This is 2. Oh, no, this is gravel. We're halfway. I need 26. That's 2. I'm not going down gravel. I always get a little chuckle when I see highway signs. That one was just a county road, but about 5 miles ahead of me, there's actually a state highway, and it's 4 lanes of gravel. Yeah. Why? I don't know. It makes no sense. I think people use it as a 2-lane, but it is 4 lanes wide. I think it's mostly so people feel better about going a higher speed when the lanes are wider, some sort of psychology thing. But yeah, we have state highways made out of gravel here. It is funny. And I've had my fair share of gravel, and when you work on cars, gravel is the enemy. Oh, there's nothing worse than working on a gravel car in a wheel well, changing brakes. Every time you hit the impact, shit just falls down your neck and all over and in your face. I hate it. I hate the mud and the gravel. Absolutely hate it. That was the downside of going out with the Trooper off-road. And it was fun going off-road, but I'd spend just about as much time pressure washing the bottom as I did actually using it. Brr. Yeah, it's gonna be a really long video. Especially when I edit in that first part from a month earlier. Holy crap. Yeah, this is just kind of poor planning on my part. I wouldn't really call it a full feature. But you want to hang out for an hour, I guess, and just watch my stuff, go ahead. I really wonder the cost of all that storage that Google has to just store like every YouTube video ever, because that never gets deleted unless you delete it as the uploader. I mean, like Gmail, they'll delete your crap like every 2.5 to 3 years. I've actually had conversations in Gmail that they've deleted everything but the first and the last message, and that was only after 9 months. But YouTube, that stuff's up there forever, and you can't just delete the middle of a video, like you can with an email conversation. Yeah, there's got to just be massive storage, like server rooms that are like miles long. It's absolutely insane to think about. Eventually, I mean, the energy usage alone just to have all those servers running. Eventually, some of that crap should be deleted, I would imagine. But who's going to sign up to have their stuff deleted, I guess, if they're, I don't know. Something will change eventually, I imagine. I'll give this guy some room here. I wonder if anyone's noticed that I have hot pink duct tape holding a cell phone to my face. Still getting the wave. That's a thing. Everybody waves. And then for the motorcycles, got to do the sideways fingers. The sideways peace sign. Unless they're on a Harley, then it's 50-50 shot of whether or not I get that. I think a lot of them started off on little Hondas, and those are the guys I get the peace sign from. And the ones that are the hardcore Harley guys all the way through, I do not get the peace sign from. I'm just going to signal with my hands here. All right, no one to the west, no one to the east. Gotta stop. I'll keep it down on the gauges so you guys can see here. So those are your shift points. And then we're in top gear. So, I mean, it's really geared quite well. I have nothing to complain about with that. Okay, now this has to be the direction of the wind at this point. Yeah. It's got to be from the northeast. Whew. Rough crossing. Oh boy, thanks for the warning. If I remember right, this one's not that bad. I think they fixed it, but I'm not taking any chances. Oh, nice. Made it in between the rumbles. Yeah, that wasn't that bad. Oh man, losing some speed shifting on there. No, I hope you guys can hear me with all the wind noise. Oh man. Yeah, I gotta go further west so you guys can see more hills. Right where I am, I'm in a valley and right on the edge of it. If I would have gone about 10 miles further west, you'd see some hills. But yeah, especially out by Valley City, I think I would have trouble going up some of those hills. There's a really big one north of town. These are glacial deposits is what formed these, I believe. So just imagine giant sheets of ice with, you know, pieces of mountain rock carving it out. Yeah, and that makes, locally, it'll make very drastic features in the earth of, like, we're talking several hundred feet of elevation change. That big one out of town's probably like 200-foot hill climb, and it's only like a half-mile long, maybe a mile. I mean, I have trouble going up and keeping speed in my car on it. Yeah. It would be interesting to do that with a 125, I would imagine. And you know, why the hell not? And the whole town's really cool. There's a lot of like little ups and downs. All the streets, there's hills all over the place. The streets are also curved to go around some of the natural geological features. It's really cool. So yeah, maybe that'll be our next destination. If I can get another video in on the highway before it's too cold, because I don't want to be lame and like drag it all the way there on a trailer and just ride around in town. I want to, you know, give you guys the full experience of, you know, all the suffering until I get there as well. Oh. Oh, man, I should have worn a thicker jacket. At 334 miles. So, we started with 309, so 23 miles, no, 25 miles so far in the trip. About 8 miles away from home, so it's about a 32-mile round trip, maybe 33, somewhere around there. I'm just guessing. Driven this road many times, so I should know it. I just don't have any GPS in front of me telling me exactly how many miles it is, but yeah. my first motorcycle, I put on 1,000 miles in one summer. I bought this one a month later into the season, but I'm definitely more than a month later behind on mileage. Seems like when you're younger, it's a lot easier to put on miles on a motorcycle. I used to ride that other one. I used to ride it 50 miles over to my aunt's place to mow the lawn for her once or twice a week, and that 100 to 200 miles a week adds up. And this one I've literally just been using for fun. I don't think I've actually really used it functionally. No, wait, that one time I went 82 miles, that had some level of function because I was picking up another motorcycle for parts for a different project. That's not really for a YouTube thing, but I was picking up a 76 Kawasaki KZ400 for cheap, and I had to meet up with my brother-in-law who lived 82 miles away, and rather than drive there 82 miles and then ride with him in his minivan to go pick up this other bike for, another 75 or 80 miles and then back, it was just easier to do a circle instead of a back and forth. And so I just took my motorcycle one way and tossed it in the back of his minivan, and we took them both back to my place after picking up. So there was some function in that trip of using the motorcycle. It served a purpose. But other than that, I've just been joyriding. Because, that's how it is for me. I think that's how it is for a lot of people in North America. Motorcycles are they're toys. Not necessarily transportation. I mean, they certainly can be transportation. I would like to do that again one day as transportation. But I find myself, if I'm tired or hungry or cold or hot that day, it's like, I'll just take the car that I can just sit in and turn the AC on or turn the heat on or put the cruise on and not worry about it. Listen to the radio. It's totally just laziness. I'll admit it. Well, we were over the 20-minute limit again, and then I pulled over to let the camera processing app run. Yeah, and then there was like 5 cars in a row back there. I wasn't holding them up. They were like a mile behind me. But, yeah. Anyway, this is going to be a really long video. Oh, man. I was going to shoot some other video today, but I think if I still got it in me, I think I'm going to have to dump this camera memory first onto the PC before I film more, because I don't know how much space I got. But, yeah, that's part of riding two wheels. I don't know how much you missed of that last conversation because something wasn't recording or not. But, yeah, just getting out there and going, I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit longer because, well, in this case, I usually go faster than 50 miles an hour in my car. Now, I got a van coming up on me from behind with really big tow mirrors. Now watch out for those. Well, they're signaling at least, so they're paying attention and not lane sharing, which is a gray area in my state. You can lane share, but it is looked down upon, and you get that a lot of times. People will pass you and they're like, it's a motorcycle, who gives a crap, and then they'll have two tires over the line and be within elbow distance with their mirrors and me. I don't like that. I think, I don't know. I think people should probably pay more attention, and I'm probably one of those people too. We all complain about people that don't pay attention, but I mean, shit, we're surrounded by screens, and we all got radio going and whatnot, and someone talking to us on the phone, whatever. But, pay attention for bikers, pay attention for motorcyclists. Everybody says it. I mean, nobody does it, but At the same time, I'm also being proactive. You can't count on the rest of the world for your own safety. You're nothing more lone wolf than riding a motorcycle down a highway by yourself. So that's why I got the high vis on. That's just increasing my odds of being visible. Oh, that person was, that's about what I've been seeing, which is nice. About 3 to 5 car lengths behind is when they pull out with the high vis. Man, you would not believe how bad it was with this black jacket without high vis about right around sunset. My own dad got behind me on the highway and he didn't even see me until I waved at him, and he's like, oh my god, thought he was gonna run me over. He didn't get that close. It was just within 1 car length that everyone else was doing too, or at least that's what it seemed like through my mirrors. I don't know how accurate they are, but it felt a little close. Yeah, also, according to my dad, the tail light on this bike sucks. So I should probably switch that out, but for now we got the high vis. I imagine one of these days I'll put an LED back there, some sort of LED assembly. I might just do a replacement LED bulb in the original assembly for the look. I don't want to wash out the lens though, so I might just have to get a red one. Brr, 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 brr. It is way colder than it looks. Yeah, I mean, riding the motorized bike in the winter, that was cold, but there's a little bit of a difference when it's like, 30 degrees in a warm day and you're and you got, full snow gear on and you're only going like 20 miles an hour to, going 50 to 55, and you just have a jacket and jeans, and then what I got, some steel toes on. I mean, the steel toes are keeping the wind out, that's okay, but this jacket ain't doing shit. Oh, finally. We're back to the highway that leads to home. Close to it anyway. There's actually a bike path that links my town with the next town that's about 6 miles long. I'm always tempted to go down it with the motorized bikes, but there's signs that say no motorized vehicles, and I don't want to ruin it for everybody, so I don't know. I feel like I got to get more miles on that Phantom 85, and that bike path would be a great way to do it. Maybe if I go on there when no one else is on there, maybe I'll put on lights and go at night or something stupid. All right. All right, here we go. We're on the last 2 mile stretch. We're at 341 miles. And we started somewhere below 309 today. So yeah, that's a decent little ride. I should have had lunch first. I'm hungry. All that shivering's burning the calories. Anyway, if you like this longer form content like this, let me know. I've been uploading a little bit longer videos lately just because just trying to pack it all into one episode instead of a series of half episodes, and I noticed the watch time's actually been going up significantly with the longer videos, so yeah, I don't know if that means people are liking them or if it's just a percentage of the fact that it's longer. But I don't know. Let me know if you like the longer form content. Maybe I'll do more longer form stuff like this. Because in all reality, most of the time it's just as long to do the video. I'm just cutting more of it out to kind of keep the audience retention stuff. But I can cut less out if people want to see, you know, me rambling for an hour going down the highway, I guess. It'd be nice to get some more twisty roads instead of just the straight highways. Yep, whole lot of flat. Oh, and by the way, this high-vis vest, you can pick these up at Harbor Freight. I think it was like $5 or something. Somewhere between 5 and 10. It was dirt cheap. Honestly, it might have been like $3.99. I don't remember, but well worth it. Well worth it. I mean, it could have been $100 and been well worth it, and it was dirt cheap. All right, we are almost there. Haha, don't have to slow down much for the 45 zone. Joke's on everyone else, eating up their brakes. Honestly, I think I've only grabbed the brakes once today for like the last 10 feet. That's the other thing about this. So it's got really lame mechanical drum brakes. Yeah, and it doesn't matter because it decells so quickly all on its own with just the engine. I honestly have almost zero need for brakes on this motorcycle. Alright guys, we're back home. Just to give you guys an idea of the range. It's kind of hard to tell, but I've used about half this fuel tank just in that one trip. So, it may be a little bit less than half, but yeah. So, you guys have an idea there. Like I said, range not too hot.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. A little bit of post-ride update. I made it just fine, obviously. My hands got cold, but they're not buzzy. Fingers work, everything. That was not the case on the first long trip I took. Everything vibrated when I got off. My feet, well, I don't know, you can really see my feet, but not that that matters. Tiny bit buzzy, not bad for a highway ride on a single. Granted, I did make quite a few stops. Well, not quite a few. 2, 3. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This is a little bit different format than what I usually do. I hope you guys like it. Just changing stuff up a little bit. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this or motorized bike videos, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and then that way you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. And that's about all I got for you guys today. See you guys next time.